everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Darla Lucian and this is Darla Lucian Studios. And today we are going to alter a playing card. So I can't wait to get in. You can see we've kind of gone into red and white, silvery. I'm hoping I can use this kind of for Valentine's Day. But before we get in, I would like you to like my video. Please hit the like button. It helps my video to go up, up, up in the algorithms, which means more people can be inspired and more people will see it. If you like what you've been seeing, subscribe. You know, I release these videos every Monday morning, and if you hit the notification bell, it'll let you know the next time videos are available. Please comment. I love to hear what you're saying, what you're seeing. Thank you so much for the people who subscribed and commented last week. Rankin Studios, thank you so much. Nicola Mason, thank you for subscribing. Jean-Peter, or is it Jean-Peter? I'm sorry, I don't know which way to say it. And thank you so much for subscribing. I look forward to conversations with you. Serious Hecka, thank you so much for your subscription and your comments. I love chatting with you guys. Remember to share. Lots and lots of people out there need to have some kind of inspiration, some kind of crafty inspiration, and you know, we can all get better together, I think. So in this video we're going to do an ATC, or an artist trading card, which means we're going to alter this little card here. But then in the second half I am going to answer a subby question, which is, I don't have all the stuff that you do. What is it that I actually need to get started? So prepare to hear what happens when I get questions like that. All right, so let's get in here. So first of all, I just want to remind you that last week we did this altered playing card, and I tried doing this, well, it was supposed to be kind of like the faux handmade paper, and so this is how it turned out. And I wanted to show you. I should have tried to be very careful to dry it flat, because it is brittle right now, and I'm afraid to even bend it. I'm afraid it will crack. I am going to try putting it under heavy books and seeing if that will help. But I used glue instead of podgy, and I think that might have been one of my mistakes. So I don't mind how part of this turned out, but over here I don't really like how it turned out. So the difference is that it was more sparsely sprinkled here, and the things were smaller, and over here the things were thicker, and so they don't show through as nice. And so I think this was a good lesson learned. So although I'm not happy with how it is right now, it's not unrecoverable, so we're going to try pressing it under some heavy books, and I'm going to try playing around with it a bit some more and just seeing what else we can do to make it better. All right, so that said, I had this thought that I wanted to try making a corseted card. So first things first, I found this is like, I just want to show you. I don't know if you can completely see it, but it's paper, but it's velvety on this side. And I've worked with this before, and I really, really like this paper. So it ended up being the one that I ended up choosing. I had some other choices here that I thought I might use. I liked this one, Starburst. There are some other ones here, but I ended up going with this velvety stuff. I just really liked how it looked, so I'm just going to kind of move some of this extra stuff out of our way for now. All right. So then what I did is I cut it to size. I thought that that would be a good size, and then I cut it using a decorative scissors. So you might have seen these from, like, different places sell these, scrapbooking stores and whatever. This is Fisker's brand, and I think I bought a carousel of, like, I don't know how many tons, so about that big, and it has like all different kinds of scissors from Costco once upon a time. So there's no guarantee, of course, that they would have it now, because you know how Costco is. But anyway, so I thought, okay, so now I just separate it out, and then I make my holes and I lace it up. This was my thought. And then I realized that when I have it like this, it's going to be a valley opposite a hill. Well, that's not what I need. I need it to be two hills opposite each other with the valleys opposite each other. Well, now you see, it's not the right distance for the card. So then I cut myself a bigger piece. See, you guys are really challenging me. I am definitely hitting my stretch goal to try something new. This one really stretched me. So there it is. And I made it big enough so that I can make it opposite each other. And then I used my Making Memories kit, and I used the medium size eyelet punch. I don't know if you can see it exactly. But there we are. And so you just, I've done this already because it's loud. So I just use my glue book as my pad, and you just line it up where you want it, and then use the hammer and just hammer down, and then just like one hit usually does it for something like this. And then you take your eyelets. So I wanted to choose silver. These are Making Memories ones. And this is the eyelet setter. So I know I said it's kind of loud, but I did want to show you how to set the eyelets. So you put the eyelet through the hole. These are, turn it upside down. So that side has kind of like a starburst where it's bigger in the center, and then it kind of has this like starburst pattern that actually is kind of ridged inside. So you make sure that center is in the center of your eyelet. And then hammer it down, and then I just use the rounded side of my hammer to kind of smooth it. Oh, goodness sakes, we're just having all kinds of fun today. All right, sorry about that. I forgot to shut my phone off before I came in here. All right, so next eyelet, I put it upside down. You just kind of put it through the hole. Then center it. And you just smooth it around. And so the reason that I decided to do the eyelets is because I didn't want the holes to tear. And I thought it would also add kind of an interesting and unique look as we kind of lace up our corset here. Now, I did not pre-try this project at all, so I just tried to cut a piece just to see ahead, just to make sure it's going to work, and I'm kind of glad I did that part ahead, because that part did not work. But I'm pretty sure we're going to have a fine time moving along. And you know what? It's like I say when we do these artist trading cards, trying something new on a small space like this is great because this one didn't spread very good. There we go. When you're trying something new on such a small space, it doesn't matter if you screw up. It's just a small screw up then. And it's easy enough to you know, try something to fix it. But you know, like very rarely is something a complete screw up that you can't actually recover from it. All right, so that's what the back looks like. And then the front looks like so. All right, so now we have our eyelets, and we want them so that they're opposite each other. So just like thinking of lacing up a shoe, we want them to be equal or parallel to each other. All right. So, but first, before I lace these up, I want to put something underneath. And I was thinking what might look nice is if we had a little bit of this lace underneath, and then that's peeking through from our corset. So, I hope that this is going to be square with the pattern. I'm going to try cutting it, and then we'll see what we see. So I always save my scraps unless they're absolutely tiny, because you just never know where you can use these guys. off. So even this can be saved for something. It's in fact very handy to have some of those smaller pieces. Okay, so it's not perfectly square. Okay, I am going to glue it on so that the pattern is square. So I'm going to put tacky glue because this is shiny. Actually, you know what, before I do that, I'm going to take some of the shine off. I think that that really helps. Just going to use some sandpaper. Take some of the shine off the surface so that literally it gives it some tooth. There's something for the glue and the other paper to hang on to. So I went one direction and now I'm just going to go the other direction as well. Alright. I'm just seeing if I missed any spots, just kind of in the light. Seems like it's okay. Alright. So, just putting some glue down. Okay, I always keep my tacky glue upside down. It just stores. It's not that it stores easier that way. I mean, it can be stored upside down, or it can be stored right side up. And it just makes sense to me to store it upside down, since that's what you do with it the minute you grab it anyway. All right. So I've curved it just a little bit so that the pattern is more parallel, which means then I have a little bit more to trim off. These tiny pieces I'm not going to worry about keeping. Some people might. I just not sure how to store something quite so tiny so that I would actually remember it to use it in another project. To me that would be tricky to remember. Okay, so then big plan was to glue this down the side and only glue it at the edge, and I want to clip it, and then we're going to try threading some embroidery floss through. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it executes. So I just want to have it fairly thickly along the side here. So I would say it's like 1/2 centimeter or so. And for this one, I want to line the top up with the top and the side up with the side. Okay. Now with tacky glue, it's very forgiving. If you haven't placed it in the right place, you can shift it around. In fact, it does shift quite a lot. So if you have it in the place that, oh dear, if you have it in the place that you want it, make sure that you hold it there. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my clips here to hold it in place. I was starting to get glue on the top, which is a real problem with this velvet paper because, you know, you can't really get it off without showing that you've been scratching at it. All right, so then obviously rinse and repeat on the other side. Here we go. Woozy woozy, oozy, woozy gloozy. Okay. Now when I put this piece on, oops, I have one that's like close to over the edge here, an eyelet, so I'm going to redo this side. I probably have time to move it. Yeah, just. Okay, I want to make sure that both my eyelets are on. Ah. Okay. Oh, this is getting so messy. All right. Try this again. Let's clip it. Now we have it exactly where I want. I'm glad I saw that before it stuck down good though. Tell you what. This is what it's like when you challenge yourself. You are not the pro. Okay. So then here, what we want to do is make sure that our eyelets are opposite all the way along. Okay, so that helps us to line up. And then again, we're going to clip on this side. Well, that side went so much better. I wonder if you noticed how much better that went. See? Just do one side and already you can be a pro. You too can be a pro. All right. So we're going to let that dry. And then I was thinking what I was going to do would be put a strip of this pretty silver ribbon, I guess we call it, kind of down the glue line maybe on here, just for some extra interest on here. And then I wanted to put a piece of this on the back. So right now I can't put this on there. Where is the end? The end is near. Okay, here we go. So what I can do is just measure the distance that I need, which is to there. And I don't mind if it's just a little bit bigger. I don't want it too short. I'd rather cut off a little bit than not have enough. Okay. So slowly but surely we're clearing off this pile that was in the middle here. The fun thing, the one thing that I find especially thrilling about doing junk journaling is just how much you can do things with crafts and skills that you had beforehand. So like if you're a watercolor artist, well, you can bring that into junk journaling. If you were like a quilter or a sewing person, you know, you could bring that into a seamstress. Is that the word I'm looking for? I was struggling. You know, you could bring that into your journaling. And like some people do quilted covers or do hand stitching and slow stitching. Other people do quilted covers. You know, like there's so many, like needlepoint and lace, like embroidering and crocheting. All of those kinds of things are skills that can come right into junk journaling along with some of the other stuff. I just want to put a piece of this in the middle to cover up that center thing to there. To there maybe. Let's see if that'll do it. And when you bring your other crafts in, that's what makes each person's journal so unique, because you're bringing your own unique background into the journaling that you're doing, which I think is fantastic. So this is just a little bit of origami paper. It's metallic and shiny, and which is really kind of fun. And yet, yeah, I'm just going to put that little piece right there for now. And it's so lightweight, and yet we can do something kind of with it here in our junk journaling. So like origami is another thing. Like you could bring folding paper into this project as well, which is kind of cool. Like again, I love the idea of bringing something that you used to do and maybe something with which you already have a ton of the tools, right? Like if you've been crafting in a particular, you know, let's say like in my case, I used to do scrapbooking. Well, I have a ton, and I'm not even kidding, of scrapbook paper. And that means that I have like a selection of things to choose from when I go to do junk journaling. However, that's not to say that you have to have been crafting beforehand in order to do junk journaling. That's the thing. You could have been, or, you know, like lots of people are looking for new things to entertain them and occupy them during the 2020 pandemic when it first started. You know, so many people were looking to find some, you know, something to do with their time. And now I think people are just realizing that sometimes some of these more solitary kinds of activities might be where it's at. You know, at least just for the time being, somebody needs to have something to occupy their time, or at the very least, it's fun watching video after video of all these junk journals that other people create. I love doing that because I just get so inspired seeing what other people are up to. All right, so now I'm going to pull out this box because it has some of my stuff in, my embroidery floss. I'm looking for red. I know I have red because I used it recently, and all I can see is pink, black, purple. There it is. Okay. All right. So I have some cubbies that are kind of right here, which are really, really handy for when you're crafting. Okay, so then the next thing to do is to choose kind of which... You guys, I'm videoing. Could you please be a bit quieter? Alright, so what shade do we think is going to look nicest? Maybe a matching kind of shade? I like that quite a bit. Alright, let's try that. So, let's just slide those off. I'll save those. Alright, now where's the end? If you're an embroidery person, please look away right now because I do not know how to take these apart without making a complete disaster of what's left behind. Oh my goodness, it's actually working today. Wow, maybe I spoke too soon. So this is just my sewing shears. I just find it easier to use that. So we are going to try. So I made it extra long because I figured I'd rather cut stuff off than not have enough. So we're going to do it in half. And you know what? I think I'm going to make like shoelace fingernails on these with a little bit of tape. Just Scotch tape. That'll make it easier to thread initially. So I'm just going to fold it up and then I'm going to kind of roll it up. At least that's what my original thought was. I don't know if I'll be able to actually get this happening. There, I want a point so that I can put it through without it catching. Okay, and then to the other side. I think I just maybe got too big of a piece of tape here. Where's my other end? There we go. All right. You guys, I'm videoing. Please quieter. All right. So now we're just wrapping this up. Sorry if I was a little off camera there. I was just trying to see the other side of what I was doing. I'm trying to roll this into like a point here. All right. So literally just, I'm going to leave these clips on. So literally just pull these through like as if I was lacing up a shoe. Wow, everything's sticking to me. I've got glue all over, I guess. All right. All right, so now we're going to cross these over. And we're going to lace them up from the bottom to the top again. Come on, you want to get through, you know you do. There we go. So what do you need to get started? Let's talk about that while I am doing this. So one of the things, okay, I'm crossing them again. One of the things that you need is a pencil. I know it sounds silly, but literally your first tool always is a pencil. You jot down ideas. It's simple as that. Pencils help you like with your measurements and just, you know, sketching out ideas on a page, you know, if you're not sure about what you want to do. I find that so handy. You're going to need paper. I know this sounds silly because probably everybody has paper in their house, but literally, like copy paper, scrap paper, you know, lined like loose leaf school paper, you can use that. Other kinds of papers are, oops, I think I crossed it the other way the other times, are like the centers of books. Like when you take a book cover to use as a journal cover, then the paper that is left is excellent. You know, you don't have to have scrapbook paper, but scrapbook paper is wonderful, obviously, to use in junk journaling. You can get so many different patterns, so many different kinds. You can buy it like digital scrappy paper, digital kits online even. And, you know, themes and colors are almost as limitless, I guess, as your imagination could be. All right, let's cross this again. So far, I think I've crossed it the same every way. I keep looking. All right, so then you need something that you can cut with. So again, I would say, you know, look to some of the other kinds of crafty stuff that you've been doing. Fabric shears, you know, paper scissors, X-Acto blade, you know, you like a utility knife. These are great tools. I mean, it's awesome if you happen to have specialized ones for crafting, like this cutter bee from EK Success, which is this nice precision X-Acto blade. You know, but these things, you know, some of the extra things, they're not everything. You don't have to have them in order to craft. You know, having a pen is great. You know, but you don't have to be terribly fancy. You know, as long as you have, say, like I got this at Dollarama, Dollar Tree, something like that. It's got 12 colors in, and I love these because the one side is a brush tip, and the other side is a fine point tip. These are really, really great for bullet journaling. I use these for my bullet journals every morning when I go to do my trackers. Ugh, why can't I put things away? All right, and I find them very, very helpful, you know, but you can do more than that. You can create your own scrapbooking paper, like your own pattern paper with copy paper and some markers. You can literally do it yourself. If you got a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, you can do coffee dyed papers, and you can create some of the most amazing things with just a little imagination, maybe a YouTube tutorial video, and some of just the most basic supplies. Another thing that is very, very useful is just, okay, you're going to need something to stick things down with. So, tape, glue stick, tacky glue. You know, those are some of the basics. And then, from there, things can get a lot more fun. You know, like the different kinds of washi tapes. There's just a couple examples right there. How wonderful things can be. I mean, you can use a stapler, and that is really helpful. You know, then there's like other kinds of tools that are very, very useful. I wanted to show you too. These here, you know, paint brushes, hole punch, ruler. I mean, these things are just so, so basic. And yet, if you have those things, that's really all you need to get started. Maybe an eraser, you know? If you have like a kid's set of watercolor paints, that is, whoops, that is all you need to get started with painting. You don't really need all the fancy, fancy stuff. It's amazing how people sometimes think that they have to have a certain kind of thing in order to get started, and yet you really don't. You just, my motto is work with what you got. You know, especially when you're trying a new craft, it's nice to work with what you've got, because what if you don't like? What if you don't like the craft? What if you change your mind about it? Then, you know, you're kind of stuck with all this stuff. And you either have to sell it or give it away or whatever, and it's kind of a poor investment. But in the case of just kind of collecting things that you already have, it allows you to get started right away without having to go out and shop or wait for something to arrive from Amazon. Or AliExpress, I hear, is a great place that people like ordering supplies from. I haven't yet, but I know people have. Okay, I'm just tossing those little guys. All right, I'm starting to love how this is coming together. Love, love, love. Okay, let's try. I might have to bring those clips back out, actually. I'm kind of laughing about that, but trying to be as straight as I can. No, I think it's going to stay. Good. Sorry, I'm concentrating here. There we go. All right. So one of the beautiful things is being able to use what you've got on hand right now. Just get started. Just start. Just do something. Okay, I'm going to have to possibly clip this. We'll see. I don't want to squish it too much because I'm getting the glue out from underneath, and that's not what I want. But how cute is this starting to look, hey? All right, so then some of the other things, like if you have fabric, if you have yarn, like how much fun would this be on a tag or on a page? You know, ribbons, you know, like these silver ribbons or embroidery floss. Here's some more examples of some ribbons that I happen to have. So I just wrapped them around a piece of cardstock from some kind of packaging. That's something else too. Recycling is huge in this craft. So I don't know about you guys, but I get tons of stuff in the mail. So the Bradford Exchange happened to send this to me, this Harry Potter village, and I just might end up cutting this out and using this as like a embellishment or a decoration. Other times you get things where you're like, I don't know what I could use this for, but this is an envelope in the center, and you know, envelopes are great to use for making pockets and all kinds of things. This is part of a, you know, all of these are just bits and pieces that were left. And like this one's quite stiff. This was from a little notebook, and it's going to be nice to use to make tags because it's so stiff. Some of this other stuff, you know, can be used for all different kinds of things. You know, if you were a stamper, if you have stamps, oh, you can use stamping in this so much. Inks, just even inking around the pages, that's a lot of fun. And, you know, again, from sewing, like I have just some examples of different kinds of things that you could have, like different embellishments, right? So buttons and paper clips and brads and sequins, you know, all of these kinds of things make really interesting embellishments. Like some of these things like this, sorry, this clear, it's not a glass button, I think it's plastic, but it's old as the hills, has a shank on it that is quite big, so I wouldn't be able to use it inside a journal, but this would go on a journal cover really nicely. Some of these old buttons, how much fun are they to look at? Look at this one's kind of almost got a pearl look to it. Then there is, you know, like you can find old books, like this one was from a library sale, and look, there's pictures right in the book, you know, and look at the type. It's very different than some of the other book pages I had. Like even this book page, you know, is the style of the print is quite different if you compare them. And so it looks interesting on the page when you know, include different kinds of things in your junk journal. And you know, like, again, you don't have to have everything, but you know, having markers, or you know, even if you have like colored Sharpies, you know, those can work. A little bit of sandpaper, you know, goes a long way when you're only using it every once in a while. And I think like the trick is to just kind of start looking around your house and just seeing things in new ways. Any kind of stationery, like envelopes or index cards, recipe cards, all that kind of stuff, that can easily transfer over to junk journaling. But looking beyond that to other kinds of things, you can really find just so many supplies right under your nose. I think I started collecting things for maybe 3 or 4 months before I actually just started junk journaling, and I wish I hadn't waited as long. I wish I had started right away, but that's what I did. So, you know, that's just what it was. But here's the thing that's kind of funny, is even a couple years later, I'm still going around my house and finding new sources of supplies, because I go on these different, you know, YouTube videos and different groups and Facebook, and all of a sudden somebody will say, oh, and by the way, I use this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I have those. I never thought of using them in a junk journal, you know, and that kind of stuff happens all the time. Like Kleenex boxes are so pretty, and yet I think they are seriously underused as a crafting supply. And they're nice and stiff. I was going to try to find an example. I thought I had one here, but it appears it got filed away. Imagine that. I'm actually really working on that, trying to organize that one of my crafty goals. All right, so I'm just tying a little knot. I don't want to pull it too tight because I actually don't mind it kind of loose. And then I'm going to make a bow. Okay, not too big a bow. Where are we pulling? Not there. Pulling there. Okay, I'm going to pull this back just a little. And then this side back just a little. There. Alright, and then I'm going to cut my tails here, and I am going to save the tails for, I'll throw those in my little snippets basket, because you never know what you could use a little bit of whatever for. Okay, well, there is the corseted playing card, and there's the back, and it's just a little piece that's kind of reflective on the back. It gives room to write out, you know, your artist trading card information. I think I actually showed you this in another video, but just to remind you that you need to have the information of the title, the number, edition, series, artist, blog, date. This is an example of what you can use. Really what you need is the date and the artist. You don't really need anything else other than that. It's just the other stuff is gravy and nice to include. Some people like it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've started collecting crafting supplies for junk journaling. And if you had, what was the best surprise treasure that you discovered will work good for junk journaling? Let me know down below. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, and we will just catch you in the next video. See you tomorrow, everyone.